Hey guys, so today's video is going to be on a technique called cooking or baking. This has been kind of thrown around on Instagram and YouTube and other social media, and not everyone really knows what it means when someone says they're cooking their face. It kind of sounds really weird, I know, but this has been a technique that has been around actually for quite some time. It's from the drag queens, the drag worlds, and like I said, it's been around for a while. People think that it's a newer makeup trend, but nope, it's not. Drag queens use it to really set their highlights. Drag queens really highlight and contour their face to manipulate it and make it look more feminine, give them really small noses and structured cheekbones. So yeah, this has been around for a while, and makeup artists and makeup lovers started picking it up like a few years ago because they realized that it's a really great technique and it really sets your foundation and concealer and really locks it in place and highlights at the same time. So thank you, drag queens, for giving us this awesome technique. First off, I wanted to just talk about a few products that you can use if you want to try this out. I personally use the Airspun powder. Well, it's what I've been using lately. I use it in the translucent shade. It just comes in this big jar. You get a lot for your money, and it's just kind of an oldie but a goodie. This has been around for a long time, this powder. Patrick Starr turned me onto it because he uses it all the time in his videos, and it seemed to work pretty well, so I tried it out. Another great classic product that a lot of people use is the Ben Nye banana powder. This is another great alternative. I just want to mention though that if you are fair or you have cool undertones, this may not work for you. You may want to try another powder by him. I know the Ben Nye sells the Cameo powder, which is a translucent powder in the same packaging, and then another powder, which I'm not sure the name, that has more of a pink cool undertone. Now, I am like a medium skin tone. I have olive undertones, so the yellow works for me, but it doesn't work for everyone. You know, a lot of people use this and they think, oh, I'm gonna try that, and it doesn't work for them. It's probably because you're either cool toned in your skin, or you may be just too fair and it just doesn't brighten the way you thought it would. Another product that is very similar to the Ben Nye product is the NYX banana powder. It's a color correcting powder. Now, I really do like this for setting underneath my eyes and quickly just taking a brush with it and setting my concealer really quickly and brushing it away. I don't like to let this sit on my face because I find that the product is almost too opaque and pigmented, and when I brush it away, my under eyes are such like a bright yellow color. Now, that's my experience with it. Doesn't mean it may not work for you. Like I said, it's great for quickly setting underneath your eyes, but I'm not sure if I would recommend it for baking. The last product I want to mention is a really cheap alternative to all the other ones that I mentioned. It's a translucent powder. It's a smooth skin loose face powder by NYC. It's so inexpensive. You can get this in any of the drugstores, and it's actually pretty good for the price. Like, I'm pretty impressed by this powder, and you get a lot in the packaging. So that's another great alternative if you don't want to go out and spend money on a bunch of powders and you just want to try the technique first to see if it works for you. Maybe give this one a shot. So yeah, basically what it is you just, I will get more into what you do in the tutorial part, but I just want to mention what baking is. You just take an excessive amount of powder and put it in the places that you highlight on your face, such as your forehead, your nose, your chin, and underneath your eyes, and a few other places, and you put an excessive amount of powder under there and you let it sit. You let it cook or bake, and it's just going to really lock the product, the foundation or concealer, whatever you have underneath the powder, in place, and it's going to kind of give you a really nice highlighted effect. So if you're interested in this technique, please stay tuned for the tutorial, and yeah, thanks so much for watching. Bye guys. Okay guys, so let's get started on this tutorial. Please excuse like my unfinished eye makeup and everything. I didn't want to finish it until I was done completely with my face because I am going to be having powder under here, so I didn't want to do the lower lash line. But first, I'm going to just clip my hair up real quick so it's out of the way so you can see everything. I already went over the powders that you can use and what powders I don't really recommend, but I'm going to be using my Airspun powder for this tutorial. So first thing I'm going to do is, I already have my concealer on, but I haven't highlighted. There is a difference between concealing and highlighting. Concealing is concealing those dark circles, and highlighting is really brightening up the area. I'm going to be using the, I was going to say Lorac, but it's the LA Girl Pro Conceal in the yellow corrector. And I am going to put this underneath my eyes. I am not one to really go crazy with the highlighting just because I don't really like it. But I just feel like it's too much makeup on my face. But I am going to apply this underneath my eyes. Not too much, just enough to highlight. And then I'm going to put it on my chin, on my Cupid's bow, a little bit on my nose, more so just on the bridge right there, and in the center of my face. Actually, you know what, right underneath my lips right here to make them look fuller and brighten that area up. So that's it as far as highlighting. I don't go crazy highlighting, like I said, and I already put concealer on. Really this video is focused on the powder part, so, but I did want to show this just so you can see. And then I'm going to take a damp beauty blender and just blend out that highlighter. Basically, there's so many highlighters out there, like MAC Prep and Prime. Those are great highlighters, so if you want to use those, you definitely can. There's even some at the drugstore. I just like this product, and if you're a similar skin tone to me, you may like it as well. Okay, so now time for the powder part. I like to use a little sponge like this to apply the powder. You can use your beauty blender, but I just prefer this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock some of the powder into the top. Really get some of it in there. I use the translucent shade. Alright, yeah, so you can see the powders in there. Then I'm going to dip this sponge, really get a generous amount on it, and I'm going to apply it underneath my eyes in a triangle formation. Okay. Now I'm going to do that on the other eye. It's going to feel a little weird. It almost like tightens up when you put it on because it's absorbing any moisture from the concealer. So it really like kind of tightens up and whatnot. Okay. Now I'm going to put a little bit on my forehead as well. I don't go crazy with the forehead baking because I don't really feel the need to. Chin. A little bit on the Cupid's bow. Down the center of the nose, anywhere that you apply highlighter, pretty much. That's where you're going to want to apply this powder. Now, if you find you're not getting excess powder and it's just absorbing into the skin and you don't see the powder sitting on it, it's probably because you just don't have enough on your sponge. Now, I am going to clean up this area. This is great. If you already contoured, you can really use this to clean up that contour. Otherwise, it's just great to do kind of lift this area up, this part. So I'm not going to bring it all the way down. I just put it right in the back. Let me do this side. And you can let this sit for as long as you want. You can let it sit for 5 minutes, you can let it sit for 10 minutes, you can let it sit for a minute. It really is up to you, and I am going to put a little bit right here. Okay, so now that I look like a crazy person, I am going to let this sit for a minute just to bake and cook. Basically, it's just going to absorb all the moisture from the, not moisture, but any wet foundation or concealer, and it's going to really amplify the highlights and set your foundation in place. Your foundation is not going to go anywhere if you do this. So like I said, I'm going to let this sit for a minute. I don't let mine sit for too long, just like 2 minutes, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I let it sit a little bit, and now I'm going to just take any kind of fluffy brush that you have, preferably a smaller one for underneath the eyes. I'm using this Real Techniques brush. This is one of my favorite brushes of all time. I use this constantly. And I'm going to very lightly dust this excess powder off. I don't like press on the brush. I really just use a lot of light pressure to dust the powder off. And you will see when you dust it off, that area is going to look really matte and just like, I don't know, it just looks really, really nice and flawless. So I'm just going to dust this side off. Again, I'm not applying a lot of pressure. You don't want to apply a lot of pressure. Dusting the contour, chin, this area, nose, and the forehead. So yeah, that's cooking and baking. It's a really easy technique. There's really not much to it. It's just making sure that you have enough powder on your sponge to really get a lot of powder in those areas. Like I said, if it's absorbing, then you probably don't have enough powder on your sponge. So now my foundation isn't going anywhere. And since we're already here and I have to finish up my face, I'm going to show how I contour. I do not do anything super special. I do not do all liquids and powders. For the most part, I stick with powders unless I'm really feeling fancy, and I will take a dark concealer and contour with that. But I'm going to be using my Anastasia contour kit, my good old handy dandy contour kit. I love this. I use it all the time. This is the original. I'm going to take the cooler shades, these two right here. I don't really like to use the super warm one because I just find that it doesn't contour very well. It's too warm. So I'm just using a Benedelium's tool, like angled white goat-haired brush, and it's just a nice brush for contouring. It's not too dense and it's not too flimsy, so it kind of gives the perfect contour. So as you can see, it just kind of adds a little bit of depth and structure to my face. So now I'm just taking the contouring shades and just contouring my forehead. I really like to warm up my forehead because I like to warm up my face in general because my face is a lot lighter than my body just from washing it and exfoliating. So I like to warm it up as much as possible. Now I'm going to take blush. I'm going to use the palette that I've been holding. This is an e.l.f. palette, and it's in the light palette. There is a dark one as well, but I really like the shades in this one. And I'm going to use a mixture of this peachy shade and this shade right there. I'm just going to knock off the excess. And I'm going to use the same brush I was contouring with because this is also a very good blush brush. So to apply that very lightly. You don't want to press too hard when you're applying blush because then it can come off very blotchy. Just a very light hand. now it's time for the highlighting. I'm gonna use Jaclyn Hill's collaboration with Becca, Champagne Pop. Oh my god, this stuff is so beautiful. Can you see that? I don't know if it's gonna focus. Yes. So pretty. So pretty. If there's one highlighter I recommend to get, is this one, because it fits so many skin tones and it's just the most beautiful, like peachy gold highlight. I love it. So I'm going to take this big fan brush. This is by BH Cosmetics, and I'm just going to dip it in there a few times, knock off any of the excess, and right up here on the tops of my cheekbones, I'm going to apply this highlighter. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it on camera. I hope you can, because it's so pretty. Okay. I don't like put this all over my face. I wish I could, but I'm super oily, so it just doesn't look great. I do like to put it though on the tips of my nose. On the tip of my nose, not tips. See, it just gives you a little button nose. And then I always put it on my Cupid's bow. That's it. So that is the conclusion of this video. I hope it was helpful. I just wanted to keep it short and easy on the cooking part, because it's really easy, but not a lot of people know what it means when they hear cooking or baking in terms of makeup. Like, no, you're not literally cooking your face. It's just a way of highlighting and setting your concealer and foundation. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and have a good day. Bye.